Zentra, the Varan delegate, rose from his seat with the grace of a predator. His scaled, serpentine body coiled slightly as he surveyed the crowd, his golden eyes shining with disdain. "We must respond to the human inquiry," he began, his voice soft yet venomous. The room tensed as Zentra continued, condemning humanity for its alleged reluctance to engage in conflict and their constant calls for diplomatic solutions. His words lingered in the air like a toxic fog. Arthur's jaw tightened, but years of training reminded him to stay silent. Next to him, Patrick Jones, the young assistant, fidgeted nervously, his fingers twitching as though eager to speak. Arthur glanced at him briefly, and Patrick immediately stilled, his face blank. Zentra sneered, betraying his own anxiety and dread, before continuing, savoring each word. "Humanity's history may be one of confrontation," he said, "but their actions as members of this council have been lackluster. They lack the resolve to take decisive action and wield true power." The room exploded with a mix of mockery and laughter. Delegates from more aggressive species, those who thrived on conquest and bloodshed, nodded in agreement, while others regarded him with suspicion. Finally, Arthur stepped forward, moving to the main platform with deliberate calm. He adjusted his cuffs with precision, his gaze cutting through the noisy chamber. When he spoke, his voice was smooth yet sharp. "It's remarkable how much time you spend speculating on what humanity fears," Arthur began, his tone serene but laced with steel. "Yet you have given no thought to what we have endured, or what we are capable of." The room fell silent. The laughter faded, replaced by a taut tension. Zentra froze momentarily, his confidence wavering. Arthur pressed on, his words carrying weight. "You mock us for choosing peace over conquest, but history shows that those who mistake mercy for weakness often regret it." The silence in the chamber deepened, even the most belligerent delegates shifting uncomfortably in their seats. Patrick, standing behind Arthur, marveled at the transformation before him. This was no polished diplomat, this was a warrior in disguise. Zentra hissed, breaking the quiet. "If humanity is so powerful," he challenged, "then why hide behind words and treaties?" Arthur tilted his head slightly, as though considering the question. "The greatest strength," he replied, "is knowing when to act and when not to." He paused, allowing his words to sink in. "But if you insist, delegate, I promise you this. Humanity will not hesitate to remind the galaxy why we are still here, and why others are not." A ripple of unease swept through the room. Even Zentra's scales seemed to tremble with suppressed tension. After a moment, the Varan delegate stepped back, sensing the shift in the room's atmosphere. Arthur's expression remained deliberately neutral. "Earth has always pursued peace, not out of fear, but out of wisdom," he continued. "Push us too far, however, and you will find that wisdom is not weakness." With that, Arthur stepped down from the platform, his measured strides echoing through the quiet chamber. Patrick followed, his face a mix of awe and trepidation, as they exited. Victor Van, the gruff military liaison, joined them in the corridor. "You've just painted a target on Earth's back," he said bluntly. Arthur didn't break his stride. "Then let them aim," he replied. "It will remind them why they shouldn't pull the trigger." The chamber buzzed with activity as Arthur's words echoed far beyond the crystalline walls. Victor gave a customary snarl, his deep voice rumbling. "What's the target?" Liam hesitated as he typed, the data coming together. "Neutral colony, minimal defenses, 9 locations. Population ideal for causing chaos," he reported. Arthur's jaw clenched. His presence was a sharp example of cosmic resolve. The council was meant to represent collaboration among species, but an attack like this wouldn't just harm humanity. The fragile alliances holding the galaxy together would be shattered. "The deadline is 36 hours, maybe less," Arthur stated. Liam added bitterly, "We don't have the luxury of waiting for council approval. Bureaucracy won't act fast enough. If we don't move now, the damage will be irreversible." Arthur nodded. "Before anything begins, we need to identify their staging point," Arthur instructed. "I'm working on it," Liam replied, fingers flying over his device. Victor moved forward. "If we go in, we'll need a small, fast, and discreet team." Arthur agreed. "We can't risk this becoming a public dispute." He turned to Patrick. "You're with me. We need someone quick thinking." Patrick's eyes widened in surprise, but he nodded with resolve. "Understood." Victor grinned. "Guess that leaves Liam to babysit me and make sure I don't burn anything." Liam rolled his eyes but stayed focused on his task. A sleek, inconspicuous ship sped through hyperspace toward the staging area. The team prepared in heavy silence. Patrick glanced at Arthur, who was studying a tactical map on a portable device. "Do you really think this will work?" Patrick asked, breaking the quiet. Arthur didn't look up. "It must. Millions could die if we don't act," he replied. Patrick hesitated. "But what if we're wrong? What if this is a trap?" Arthur met his gaze, composed but resolute. "Then we handle it. That's what we do. We adapt. We don't let fear rule our actions." Patrick nodded, but doubt still flickered in his eyes. The bleak moon, orbiting a dying star, was the perfect setting for covert operations. The Varan base was concealed in a deep canyon, protected by natural barriers and minimal patrols. Arthur surveyed the area through binoculars, his sharp eyes tracking every movement. "They're expecting an attack," Victor whispered, "but not from us." "What's the play?" Patrick's voice crackled through the comms. Arthur allowed a faint smile. "We give them the unexpected." Within minutes, the team launched a series of diversionary strikes on the perimeter, drawing attention away from the real objective. Amid the chaos, Arthur and Patrick slipped into the base through an unguarded maintenance hatch. The corridors were dark and narrow, humming with machinery. Moving like shadows, they reached the control room. Arthur gestured for Patrick to stand guard as he approached the terminal. "Liam, I'm in," Arthur murmured into his comms. "Walk me through this." Liam's voice crackled back. "Look for a panel labeled, Command Disable. Scramble the targeting systems." Arthur's fingers danced over the controls with precision, each beep signaling a small victory. But then, an alarm blared through the base. Patrick cursed under his breath, gripping his weapon tightly. "How much time do we have?" Arthur asked, his focus unwavering. "Not enough," Liam replied bitterly. "You need to move." Arthur finished the final step and turned to Patrick. "Let's go." The extraction point was within reach when a Varan squad rounded the corner, weapons raised. Arthur didn't hesitate. He fired 2 quick shots, dropping 2 of the aliens. Patrick followed suit, his aim less precise but effective. The remaining Varan retreated, giving the team a narrow window to escape. Victor's voice boomed over the comms. "Move it. The shuttle's waiting." They sprinted up the ramp, the hatch sealing behind them. The base grew smaller in the distance, smoke rising from the chaos they had left behind. Back on the command ship, Liam was already analyzing the data they had extracted. He held up a datapad triumphantly. "This proves Zentra planned the attack." Arthur nodded grimly. "Take it to the council. They need to see this." Patrick sank into a chair, exhaustion etched into his face. "They'll think we did it," he muttered. Arthur's gaze hardened. "They must see the truth. And if they don't, we'll make them." The Galactic Council chamber was in disarray, the air thick with tension. The crystalline walls shimmered under the weight of heated debates. Alien representatives hurled accusations and rebuttals like plasma bolts. Arthur stood calmly in the storm, his piercing gaze fixed on Zentra, who sat with his Varan entourage, exuding smug defiance. Patrick held the datapad with their hard-earned evidence while Liam monitored the holographic displays from the shadows. Zentra rose, his voice cutting through the noise. "These allegations are baseless. Humanity seeks to sow discord with lies and outdated notions of violence." Arthur let the rhetoric hang in the air before stepping forward. The hall fell silent as he spoke. "Zentra, with all due respect, the only thing being ridiculed here is your blatant disregard for the truth." He gestured to Patrick, who activated the holographic display. Evidence of intercepted communications and troop movements filled the room. Gasps echoed as the truth became undeniable. "This," Arthur continued, "is proof of your plan to massacre innocent lives and blame humanity. You were willing to tear the galaxy apart for your own gain." Zentra's composure cracked. "This is a fabrication, a human ploy to divert attention." Arthur stepped closer, his voice cold and steady. "You can deny it all you want, Zentra, but the data speaks for itself." The Varan leader, cornered, activated a hidden drone. Chaos erupted as the device projected a shield around Zentra's delegation. Arthur reacted quickly, hurling a chair to disrupt the drone's electronics. The shield flickered and collapsed. Victor and Patrick subdued Zentra's guards, securing the room. Arthur turned to the council, his voice commanding. "This is the face of your so-called unity, a leader willing to sacrifice peace for power. Humanity will not be your scapegoat." The chamber erupted, but the tide had turned. Within the hour, Zentra was stripped of his status and arrested. Victor clapped Arthur on the shoulder. Not bad for a diplomat. Arthur managed a faint smile. Let's hope it's enough. As they gazed out at the stars, Arthur's resolve hardened. Humanity would fight for peace, not out of weakness, but out of strength.